Hello, beautiful souls. So, an interesting thing just happened. I was driving to the food bank, and on the freeway, a truck pulled up next to me and got in front of me. And I've only seen this one time before, and it's more recently, like within the last few weeks. And it says on the side of it, secure destruction you can trust, which is I first of all, I love the creativity of the those who are marketing that company. I'm not entirely sure what they do. They had a picture of a circular saw on the side, and it's Iron Mountain something or other. I'd imagine it's a demolition company of some kind, but it reminded me a lot of a whole number of things on the spiritual journey I've been on, especially twin flamey stuff and karmic-y stuff. It reminded me a great deal of something that my masculine had said some time ago about his karmic, that she's the queen of iron fists, right? So Iron Mountain, right? Iron fists, things like that. And then secure destruction you can trust. And there's been a number of other readers who have been talking about there's a lot of, and even I'm feeling it too, there's a lot of karmic cycles that are ending right now. And it's kind of one of those where it's like, how do I put it? What's the words for the feelings? It's like many of you may be noticing your masculines going through situations that make you feel kind of sad for them. Like, they probably got themselves into very messy situations. Their health is likely not doing very well. Um, if they were into placation or not very good at standing up for themselves, having healthy boundaries, things like that, they likely got themselves into these situations where, well, the best way I could think to say it is the synchronicity of the truck, the sign on the truck of like secure destruction you can trust, right? Like you may have even been somebody that looked at them and was like, you do realize this situation is going to like overturn you, right? Like it's going to destroy all the things you worked hard for, or it's not going to go well. Um, and like it's one of those, don't worry about what's going on right now. Like that seems to be the main message, is like it's secure destruction you can trust. You know what I mean? Like it's a situation that is going to be tower moments and phoenix moments and eight of cups moments and things like that, five of cups moments. Like you knew the time was going to come in that space, but you got to let them go through it. You got to let them find their way back to the light, for lack of a better way to put it. Doesn't mean that you need to like turn your back and be like, oh, I'm not you've earned this, you do this. But you don't need to lead anything either. And for a lot of these masculines that I'm picking up, or that's similar to mine, like they need to learn to have faith in their own ability to lead. A lot of them got into the situations that they're in because they didn't trust themselves. They probably grew up in situations that conditioned them not to trust themselves. And a lot of us had to learn the same stuff too. And a lot of us had to go through that assured destruction moment in order to get to the place where we were like, okay, I see who I am. I see what I know and what I want, and I feel myself, and I'm going to start trying to trust how I feel, and we'll see how it goes, right? This is kind of that time for them, I think. I'm not really getting the sense, if you're listening to this sort of reading message-ish thing, that this is something that's like going on for you. But if it does go on for you, just it's again like secure destruction you can trust. Like if you're going through tower moments, or things are delayed or not going the way that you want, trust that there's things that you're learning along the way. In any case, I just decided to pull a couple of cards for this, and I thought it was interesting. I was like, you bring me a little more clarity about this. And I got the Nine of Swords first. And then I got, this one kind of made me laugh, the Kundalini card. I actually want to read what this little book, Oracle of Ascendance, says about Kundalini. Like, I'm sure you have things that you know about it. There's things that I know about it too, but I liked what it said. Is think about the message that's already in this video. So it says Kundalini, also referred to as the Tibetan fire serpent in Reiki, is a sleeping serpent that awakens during attunement. It opens the central channel of the spinal cord, also where Kundalini fire travels. Depending on how it is used, it can either ground energy into the lower chakras or push energy up into the higher chakras without allowing it to release through the crown chakra. The fire serpent connects and opens all chakras, allowing balance and harmony. When it appears in your cards, you are asked to draw upon the primal energies of creation within yourself to help heal, balance, and bring resolution to conflicting issues currently affecting your life. If there are current situations that are less than desirable, you are reminded to draw upon your creative root energies, the fire within you, to cleanse, balance, release, and restructure, right? And think about it like, oh man, that's funny. I just felt the tingles. Like it's the secure destruction you can trust, right? Like, it's tower moments are those times that come in and like knock things off of the false foundation. And then what are you left with? You're left with the pieces of it. Like I remember going through this with a former friend of mine of like, yeah, tower moments can sometimes be like, but in the end, like even though there's a mess there, you can look at the bricks, the pieces of the castle that you want to build, and you can rethink about like, okay, why was this a false foundation? Like what parts of it were not stable? Like, um, did you refuse a good a good cornerstone? Did you use pieces hastily that really weren't meant for a strong foundation? um, you know there's various different things to consider in it that can really change the way that you build your next building. And it's funny, I'm feeling called to pull another card. I'm going to pull from the same deck. It's one that I'm still kind of learning on. Let's see, a little more clarity on this, but a few more messages anyways. Then I'm going to go back to that one. Ooh, I haven't gotten this one yet. Oh, this is funny because what was Kundalini just talking about, right? Or the Kundalini, it's the serpent fire that starts in the root chakra, right? And it can travel up and down. And look at what we got, the element of fire, right? And that's interesting that it's got 5 triangles on it in yellow, right? It's part of why I love this deck too, because it's got all sorts of different things in it that you don't typically see in other decks. So let's see, element of fire. The element of fire. Let's see. Card meanings for chakra. Oh, there we go. Fire 49. Oh, I wanted to say too, the Kundalini card description was on page 76 and 77. So that's 13 and 14. It was Death and Temperance, which is an interesting way to like think about the message in that. That's part of why I like numerology and doing things like that. Like think of the message in that, death into temperance, right? It goes that way in the hero's journey in the tarot card deck for a reason, right? You go through those ego deaths, and then you come out in that like higher vibrational angelic situation where you're learning alchemy, and it's kind of a period where you need to like stop for a little bit and consider things and rebalance and heal and restructure things, right? So let's see, 49, which is 13 again, right? And we'll see if it goes, if it's 2-page or not, because to me that makes a difference. Yeah, it is 2-page, so it's 49 and 50. So that's 13 into 5, right? So death card into Hierophant energy, wisdom, learning, things like that. All right, element of fire. Fire governs the south, noon, summer, the color red, the planets Mars and Jupiter, the sun, and the zodiac signs Sagittarius, Leo, and Aries. Its tools are the wand, staff, and scourge. Fire is the creative the creative, ambitious drive, the spark that generates strength, action, and productivity. When in balance, fire creates and strengthens. When out of balance, it destroys and consumes. And remember that, like, secure destruction you can trust, right? When fire appears in your reading, you are asked to examine your creative and ambitious drives, the motives behind your actions. How you approach and act on situations can greatly affect not only performance but also the flow of energies when participating in projects. Fire, while very creative, can become unfocused if left to burn without direction. You are being reminded to give your creative thoughts, actions, and words direction and focus to achieve your goals. Which, it's really fitting with this now, right? Like, I'm glad that I asked for that before, like, really looking at that Nine of Swords, because, like, what's funny is, like, typically this is one of those of like nightmares, things that keep you up at night, just a lot of thoughts in your head. You can't really sleep. And somebody once pointed out too that, like, if you look down here on this card, you can see it's weird. It looks like one man taking a sword to a man who is sitting, like somebody who's like unarmed and just sitting there, hands on their knees, just kind of like thinking, and another man like taking, like, kind of an abusive situation, it sounds like, or like somebody has an upper hand that they probably shouldn't. Um, and I feel like that's relevant, though it feels like really what these are at this moment in time is clarities. Like, they're clarities coming in, things that are creating attunement, right? And it also feels like this is, like, if you're feeling resonant to the title of this video, it feels like this is one of those, like, you have, I'm going to call it partially a test and partially a quest, about you right now. Obviously, like listen to what the cards are saying. Focus on, focus your creative energies, because if you don't focus them, that fire will be left to burn untended, right? And it can go all over the place, which is probably something that is happening in whatever situation that you're thinking about. I'm just gonna go with that. But it feels like this Nine of Swords with this Kundalini thing. It's like, that's what it is. You're getting clarity, and you're getting validation for things that may have kept you up at night for a long time. And now, because of that, there's attunement happening, there's harmony happening, there's probably union energy going on too if you're on the twin flame journey. And your counterpart, if you have one in that, is also, like, there's things going on, likely at night, both in their dreams, and just things that are going on that are, what I just realized something I've never heard anyone else talk about. Did you notice that this figure is wearing the outfit that Temperance wears, like kind of that angel outfit, which is interesting too, because this card right now is also reminding me of one in the Divine Circus Oracle that says death shall not take him. And that card is about one of those, like, you might be seeing somebody, especially masculine type energy, but somebody that you feel like it's going down, like, karmically, health wise, things like that. And it says death will not take them, like, like they may go through some ego deaths and things like that, but they're not completely lost, they're not completely gone, they will come out of it, right? But I'm noticing that, that energy of, like, that the Temperance card in there, and think about what just came up earlier when we are looking at the numbers, right? Death into Temperance and death into Hierophant, right? So if we look at those energies, so death into Temperance. And then there we see the Temperance outfit, that kind of angelic outfit on this figure that's just like, oh my gosh, right? Overthinking things, staying up at night, having trouble sleeping, probably thinking about the carving on the bed, some sort of abusive situation. And these clarities are coming in, right? And they're creating that death into Temperance situation. And it's going to create that death into Hierophant situation. So, like, we can see that of, like, the unhealthy aspects of the ego, these unhealthy situations, having tower moments, secure destruction you can trust, right? Maybe they go through some situations where people try to challenge them physically or do things like that. And again, it creates that death into temperance energy, so that like the timing, the divine timing of it, the healing of it, the moment to stop and look at things and go, that's not the direction I want to go. I want to go towards healing. And as that starts to happen, then you get more death moments, because then we start praying for healing, right? So the person you're thinking about is likely then thinking about, I want to heal. I don't want to go through this. I don't want to go through this cycle anymore, right? And then it goes death into Hierophant, right? Because they're asking for healing, which is typically a messy process, I have learned to ask for feelings of wholeness, right? But you can really only get there after you've asked for healing and you've gone through healing stuff. And if you've not gone through your healing, asking for wholeness is going to bring that healing anyways. And that healing energy is that like the seed bursting from, or the plant bursting from the seed. It's messy, it's painful, it's starting over, and sometimes you have to go back and like re you have to go back and break old bones to reset them in the place that they needed to be in, so that you could have healthy structure, right? So that can kind of happen. But then like we see that Hierophant energy in there, the learning, the wisdom, the spiritual marriage, the teaching of things, right? And it feels like that's kind of like what's going on with whoever you're thinking about, and whoever's thinking about you, because they're thinking about you a lot. It feels like these are clarities, right? So 9 clarities, 9 confessions, 9 people, 9 situations. And remember too that like in the tarot, like 9 leads to 10, which is typically a completion of some kind. So the 9 of Swords goes into the 10 of Swords, which is the end of this painful situation, right? And what I'm getting the sense of is like, these are coming up right now, and it's leading to this, right? And so the message for you is this: focus your creativity. Focus on, just start my card real quick. Focus on what feels fun. Focus on what feels good. See, isn't that funny that somebody's brake lights? But that, right? See, that's spirit saying, like, when you focus on what feels good, and when you focus on what feels right, and when you focus on what you feel good about having faith in, that's when those things start to manifest. I'm before I end this, I'm called to share that, like, I learned something about myself in about 2020. Is like, I'm often correct about things that I predict. Not so much necessarily for psychic purposes, but more because I'm really good at seeing patterns. Thank you, ADHD, right? But what I realized is that I did not know for a long time that, because of my childhood conditioning and the things that I went through, that I was mostly predicting tower moments, like things that were negative that were happening. And what I recognized is that if I have the ability to predict negative outcomes, I also have the ability to protect positive outcomes. There's something in that. I meant to say predict positive outcomes, but maybe that's a message in and of itself. Like, you too can predict positive outcomes, and by making sure to focus your inner fire on that, your inner Kundalini energy on that, while truths are coming to light out of the night, then you can attune with yourself and with the universe. And that's how you pass your test too, because especially if you're watching this for someone that's a counterpart of yours, you are also going to be going through that death, temperance, death, Hierophant type cycles in your own ways. All right, y'all. I love you so much. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.